Ladies and gentlemen, when the Constitution holds equality as a fundamental right, can one Indian be treated differently than another? If a person upholds non-discriminatory laws, should he be punished for it? And should merit be the criteria for reward, or should it be political posturing? The reason I'm asking these questions is because 4 years after the hijab ban in Karnataka's educational institutions, the principal who abided by the rules in the book is allegedly being sacrificed at the altar of appeasement politics. This man on your screens is BG Ramakrishna, the principal of Government PU College in Udupi. In fact, on this day, and this man who is somebody who should have been revered as a teacher today, on Teachers' Day, is actually being humiliated. In this 2022 video, he can be seen closing the gates on students who insisted on wearing hijabs inside the campus. Remember, under BJP's Bommai government, the hijab ban reached the High Court, where it was upheld that the principal was vindicated, and the court cited Rule 11 of the 1995 Karnataka curricula, which says all institutions may specify its own set of uniform. Even as per the rules of Karnataka Education Department, students should compulsorily adhere to the uniform in pre-university colleges as prescribed by the college. Based on this, the Karnataka High Court said, and I quote, "The Holy Quran does not mandate wearing of hijab or headgear for Muslim women. Hijab may have had something to do with culture, but definitely not religion. Wearing of uniform transcends religious and sectional diversities and inculcates secular values." Today, 2 years later, this principal is caught in the hijab crossfire. A state panel bestowed the Best Principal award on him, but now it's been put on hold by the so-called secular Congress government. The reason given to the principal so far is that the award has been withheld due to technical reasons. But why? Well, the SDPI says that the principal breeds hatred towards Muslims and is communal with no morals. They say he kept Muslim students out of college and he shouldn't be made a hero. After these vociferous objections, the Congress Sarkar made a U-turn and put the award on hold. The BJP has alleged that this is an abject surrender to radical forces. Watch how the Teachers' Day was hijacked by politics.
This government has succumbed to these anti-national forces, and I urge the Chief Minister to restore the honor to the principal. He has done his duty.
The way he treated the children, that is the issue, that's all. If nothing is done, no problem with it, then we'll take a call. Any government order also, if he is following, has to be ordered in a certain manner. And it's not me who finalizes. There is a committee for that, and they take a usual good decision.
So did the Congress party surrender to hardliners? On the Newshour fact check, let me remind you how it wouldn't be for the first time. Remember, in the 1950s, the Congress passed the Hindu Code bills to reform Hindu personal laws, but left Muslim personal laws untouched. In 1989, after protests by radicals, Salman Rushdie's satanic verses was banned in India by the Congress party. In 2013, the then Home Minister, Sushil Kumar Shinde, wrote to Chief Ministers against alleged wrongful arrest of Muslim youth in terror cases. Just last week, the Congress government in Karnataka got spooked that a lamppost in Koppal was too communal because it was designed like Lord Ram's bow and arrow and Hanuman's gada. After STBI objected, the Tehsildar ordered its removal only to reverse his order again the next day. So what's behind this abject abdication by the so-called secular Congress? The legitimate question we are asking on the Newshour tonight. Is appeasement behind this surrender in Karnataka? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate tonight, Nalin Kohli, national spokesperson of the BJP, also senior advocate, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, senior fellow at the IPCS, Subhuhi Khan, national convener of the Rashtra Jagran Abhiyan, Kamru Zaman Chaudhry, leader of the Congress party, Saeed Asad Abbas, political analyst, Abdul Razak Khan, political analyst. But before I go across to my guests, we have some inside information that's coming in, exclusive details of what really transpired in the last 24 hours and why this particular award was withdrawn. In fact, Times Now has managed to get the inside scoop of why the award was put on hold. Sources have revealed to Times Now that the state committee invited applications and 2 principals were shortlisted. Ramakrishna and the other principal came for interviews to Bengaluru and were briefed about the protocol. But immediately, there were multiple calls from Muslim groups, and Congress leaders were approached who objected to Ramakrishna getting this award because of his track record in 2022. And because of these complaints made to the education minister and even to the chief minister's office, by evening, Ramakrishna, who had been briefed on the protocol, was verbally asked not to attend the award ceremony on Teachers' Day. Joining me live on the show is my colleague Deepak Bopanna, and you've got some details. Have you been able to get the fact that Ramakrishna was in Bengaluru to receive the award, had been briefed in internal meetings, and then told not to come at all? Is that for real?
Well, Navika, unfortunately it is. And an extensive process was followed to select Ramakrishna as the person who's going to be getting this award, along with another principal from Hunsuru. This is Mysuru district. So there were 2 principals who were all set to get the award that was formally announced as well. Now, we should understand that this is quite a rigorous process. One of the criteria for him to be selected is that he ensures that, women students do not leave, that particular school that he is managing. There are more admissions that happened in the last 5 years. In the last 5 years, the academics, as far as that institution is concerned, is excellent. So out of 32 districts in Karnataka, there were only 2 people who were selected, and he was one among them. In fact, it got down to a situation where he was brought to Bengaluru. He was asked to come to Bengaluru. He even attended a meeting just yesterday. And this was a meeting to brief him about what are the protocols to be followed, because the felicitation happened this morning. He was not a part of that, but he was a part of the entire briefing where how he should be, or where, how the award ceremony will go by, considering the education minister, the chief minister themselves will be at that event. So he was a part of all of this. It was only post, lunch yesterday that there was a lot of buzz on social media. Certain people, certain sections started to really question why the Congress government was willing to give an award to this individual who was at that point in time seen not allowing hijab-clad students to come in. But when I spoke to even sources in the Kundapur college, all that they say is this principal had nothing to do with, not allowing the students or allowing the students. All that he was doing was merely following orders that were given by the state government to him. And in fact, the police as well during that time in 2022 had told him that the onus is on him to ensure there is peace and tranquility in the campus.
Well, heartbreaking that this should happen to a principal on Teachers' Day, 5th of September, when we should be saluting our teachers. One teacher has been humiliated for no fault of his. And let me tell you, how detailed was the selection process. And the criteria for the awards included principal's contribution in increasing admissions in 5 years, academic results in the college in the last 5 years, efforts made to retain girl students in the college, efforts made to ensure girl students complete their education, their courses and get their degrees, efforts to bring back those girl students who had quit college, bringing in additional funds from NGOs and CSR funds to create more facilities in the university. After being selected the best on all of these counts, his award was taken away for the hijab controversy. Shameful, I would say, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, that the Congress party has to buckle down, and after briefing a principal on Teachers' Day to withdraw the award, it smacks of appeasement and it smacks of humiliation of a teacher who's held high standards in his performance, being humiliated by a Congress government and happening on Teachers' Day. Really a shame in this country, Kamruzaman Chaudhary. Do you think the Congress party should apologize tonight?
Well, Navika ji, I feel that in the first instance, declaring Mr. Ramakrishna as a best principal of Karnataka is itself an error of judgment. And why I say this? Let me quote you the judgment of Justice Sudhanshu Dhulia, where he said, by asking the girls to take off their hijab before they enter the school gates, and we have all seen that video being viral, is first an invasion on their privacy, then it is an attack on their dignity, and then ultimately it is a denial to them of secular education. They are clearly violative of Article 19(1)(a), Article 21 and Article 25(1) of the Constitution of India. Hence, there will be no restriction on the wearing of hijab anywhere in schools and colleges in Karnataka. This is the judgment of a justice, of a Supreme Court judge. And you expect the Karnataka government to award this teacher, who has no doubt gone with the order of the state government at that time. But stopping the girls on the gates of the premises is not an attack on the female students' dignity and self-respect. Don't you think that such a person should not have been
Chaudhary, let me correct you
place?
And let me put the facts on the table. Number one, this rule, this law and this charter existed in the education department since 1995, sir. So it was not a BJP rule. It was on since 1995, number one. Number two, if it is the rules that were put like this, and implementation of rules cannot be held against an individual principal, because that's what the charter of rules says. Everything can be changed only in future after the judgment. It is not retrospective. And number three, let me tell you that when the selection committee, which consists of experts, and these experts include experts from the education department, ex-principals, the association of principals, they are the experts doing the job, my friend. And you are saying that the education department headed by the Congress government should take a call. Why do you have an expert committee? Why is there an expert committee, Nalin Kohli, if all decisions have to be taken by the minister? And why humiliation of a principal on the Teachers' Day? Is it not a question that should be asked?
Navika.
So, of course it should be asked, Navika ji, and the first thing is, if the Congress party wishes to, no, let me just finish, Kamruji, let me finish, you come after that, let's not talk over each other, bhai sahab. So let the Congress party has much to answer. If the Congress party wants to appease the SDPI, they should say so, be open about it. Let them tell even the Muslims of Karnataka that they stand with the SDPI, because not all Muslims agree with the SDPI's agenda. It's a rather radical group. Many people will not agree with it. There are Muslim women who don't wear hijab. So tell them also that we want to follow what the SDPI says and follow their complaints. There are many people who would say that the Taliban, what it's doing is against women's rights. Tomorrow, if an organization like the SDPI says, we want full burqa, let the Congress government say that yes, we stand with the SDPI. Why be defensive about it? Let them say openly, this is our agenda. We wish to stand with the SDPI. We agree with it. We want to disown what we started as a Congress or a non-BJP government way back in 1995. We want to humiliate a teacher for doing his job and following the rules that came from 1995. Let them say all of this. Why blame the BJP for it? Why drag the BJP into it? Say this is your agenda, be proud of it, stand there proudly and say this is our agenda, we will do this, no problem. And the last thing, Sudhanshu Dhulia sir is a respected judge. He wrote the judgment, one part, but so did Justice Hemant Gupta, right exactly on the other side, agreeing with the ban of the hijab. So there is a split verdict. That's where that judgment stands. So if my friend Kamru Zaman Chaudhary wants to rely on Sudhanshu Dhulia sir's judgment, which he must and he should, there's no problem, he must be at least fair to point out to the viewers that the other side of the same bench had an opposite view. Quote both. Then you won't be seen biased, standing to defend the Congress's indefensible decision and standing there to say, yes, we agree with the SDPI.
Absolutely. Are you quoting one judgment and not the other judgment which differs with this judgment? There's a split verdict, my friend.
One part of the same judgment.
Can I come in now?
Yes,
By your own admission, Navika ji, you have said the order was there in 1995. So it took a particular principle to bring out that rule after 22 years, 27 years rather, to implement this rule. So what was the motive behind Ramakrishna ji to bring out and implement that rule? When we speak about gender justice and particularly about the rights of Muslim women, don't these people who have lost 1 or 2 years because of the hijab controversy in Karnataka deserve a better life, better schooling for them? Or is it just to appease a particular community that the Muslim girls who are wearing hijab to the schools are being penalized? Of course, I don't agree with any type of conservatism in the Islamic society right now. But there is a difference between a hijab and a burqa. Even Tajikistan has banned hijab right now, just 1 week ago. So it's not a question how a society will see it, but the society progresses with reforms within the society. You cannot just impose a reform and say this is good for your society. No, Navika ji, this is not the way to approach.
Abhijit Iyer Mitra, when there is a split verdict, to choose one part of the verdict and not the other observations in the order, is the Congress choosing its path of appeasement? And the moot question here, is the Congress now dictated by the PFI and the SDPI? Are these radical elements now running the Congress party, and the Congress party, because they get support from these organizations, have to defer to their interpretation of what's good and what's bad, what's the rule of a college and what's not?
Well, look, the Congress has become the new Muslim League. There's no doubt about it. You literally had the Karnataka Home Minister respond to a third-rate fellow, a jihadi, who incited riots that killed 12 people, including beheadings, live beheadings that we all saw on WhatsApp. Respond to him saying, yes, boss, and taking orders from him. Now, if that is the situation where a home minister is taking orders from a non-constitutional person, forget an extra-constitutional authority, a totally non-constitutional person, what do you expect? Notice the string of lies that have been engaged in. Why did the principal bring out the rule book? You yourself are looking at the visuals out there. There was a certain level of covering allowed. You could cover up to your... people have forgotten this because that hijab controversy is old now. They were allowed to cover right up to their wrist. They were allowed dupattas and things like that. One fine day, some girls decided to wear a full hijab and rock up at that school. And he decided to take a line on it because it was strictly forbidden in those particular rules about what to do. Now, if he didn't implement the rules, you would criticize him. If you implement the rules, he will be criticized. Now, if you look at the visuals that are playing right now, this is a full hijab. It's a clear violation of the uniform code. So what is he meant to do? He's just meant to ignore it. And a split verdict means just that. It means a split verdict. There is no finality on it. The High Court incidentally ruled with the principal. It was a judge bench, of which the other judge also ruled with the principal. So basically what is happening out here is, let us be very clear about it. Just like the Muslim League prior to independence was a puppet of lots of different factions, the landlords, the Islamists, the peasants, etc., etc. SDPI is one of those pressure groups of obscurantist, regressive groups that is pressurizing the government, and they will go to any length, any breadth to appease them. This is increasingly becoming their history.
And that's the question I want to ask Syed Abbas. Syed Abbas, look at those visuals. Those visuals clearly show that the girls were not just in the hijab as described as a hijab. This was covering their face, and uniforms actually bring complete secularism. Nobody can figure out who belongs to which religion, because in our educational institution, and we've been through this debate, and there is a split verdict from the Supreme Court on this. My question to you is, when there are criteria to choose which is the best principle, when there are expert committees to go into it, then how can the Congress government reverse the decision of the committee? How can the Congress government react and surrender to the radicals is a question that needs to be asked. And to be disqualified from getting an award for which you have been shortlisted, you've been briefed, there has to be a reason why you do it. And the reason cannot be pressure from so-and-so group and therefore we are reversing. I mean, is it a government or is it something that just goes with the wind, which is whichever way the wind blows, the government's decisions will blow? What's going on, Syed Abbas? And how do you humiliate a principal on Teachers' Day?
Absolutely, Navika ji. I believe no principal must be, or a teacher must be humiliated on Teachers' Day, and no student whatsoever must be humiliated when they come to attend their class. The same principal or the same teacher shut the gates, and these are young Muslim women who are seeking education. The fact of the matter is the same girls were allowed over several decades who've been studying there in the government PU college in Udupi. But one fine day, the principal decides the same. And when does it happen? Lo and behold, what a coincidence, during the Bharatiya Janata Party government of Basavaraj Bommai. We need to understand what's the problem of BJP with hijab, and why do you give young girls who want to seek education hijab or kitab? Why can't a girl have both? The fact of the matter is, yes, I agree with all my friends who say it is a girl's or the woman's choice whether to wear hijab or not. Well, if they have a choice not to wear a hijab, I respect that. But those who wish to wear a hijab is also their choice. Who wish to seek education is their choice. The fact of the matter, Bharatiya Janata Party speaks of Beti Padhao and Beti Bachao. यहाँ पे तो आपने बेटियों को रोक दिया पढ़ाने से. क्या मिला? Isn't that humiliation? All the preparation for several years, young girls losing out on education, missing out on their exam. What good is it? Let me quickly enlighten the BJP spokesperson. Respected sir, there is an international FIFA football team which wears hijab. There are international court judges wearing hijab. There are billionaires, doctors, entrepreneurs, engineers wearing hijab. What is your problem with a piece of cloth, sir? Respected sir, we need to understand that this Karnataka is a beautiful land of Basavanna which speaks of equality amongst all. The mandate of Karnataka answered you, sir. You were reduced to 66 seats. Congress triumphed over you. Why? Karnataka became a communal laboratory. Hijab, halal, Gauraksha, so on and so forth. Every day there was some controversy or the other. That is the reason why Karnataka voted you out of power, sir. Also, the last point. When you speak so much of HDPI, sir, I, as a progressive Indian Muslim, Bharat Mata ki jai, with folded hands, I beg you to please ban the HDPI. I don't want to see the HDPI. You in your manifesto 2014 mentioned about banning the PFI. Well, very good, very late, but you banned. But what about HDPI? Why are you even allowing them to contest in elections?
All right, you have no answer for the criteria that were set up. You have no answer for the fact that he was bringing back girls who had left college. He was getting girls to complete their education. He was actually ensuring girls completed their education. All that holds no importance. Getting funds, making facilities, no importance. Great results of the institution, that doesn't matter. What matters is hijab, hijab, and hijab. Nalin Kohli?
Well, I mean, I have to say something, that at least as I see it, I mean, because I've had the pleasure of Mr. Abbas being on a previous channel and I've heard his arguments there. So I've heard it for the second time. So I'll change what my response would be. it's not just about a piece of cloth. It is showing that that piece of cloth is more important than the education. It's an educational institution where the rule said that this is what your uniform is. So let me say that you went to school, I went to school, we all went to school and had a uniform. Now, one of us decided one day that no, I will not wear the grey pants that I'm supposed to wear. I'll wear blue pants or green pants or something like that. Break the uniform, I'm not allowed into the school. And I know I won't be allowed into the school. So the next question comes, what's more important? My green pants, blue pants, X-colored pants, or going and studying in the school? What was the focus? And the second is, therefore the question here is, what was the focus? Was it the wearing of that piece of cloth that you are saying, which is so trivial according to you, then rather going and giving the exam? And then therefore someone chooses the cloth over sitting for the exam, and the BJP is to blame for it? I find that amazing. What an example. If somebody exercises their choice of not wanting to sit for the exam because they want to wear a hijab, and the BJP is to be blamed for that. Amazing.
Yes, BJP is nobody to decide the choice of a young woman, sir. If a woman wants to have hijab and kitab, she can have both. BJP
it came in 1995. It came in 1995, mister. No, 1 minute, we didn't decide it. The BJP wasn't in government in 1995. It came in 1995. Where was the BJP government in 1995? Don't talk out of your heads. Don't talk like this out of the sky and then start using words like Saab to show as if you're trying to please me. You are making an illogical argument. This is not the BJP's argument.
Well, you know, the rules came in 1995 and Mr. Abbas, you know, there have been many Congress governments since then. The point is, enforcing rules is a sin in this country, then so be it. In a Congress rule state, enforcing rules of an institution seems to be a sin for Ramakrishna ji. But let me get in Subuhi Khan. Subuhi Khan, even you follow Islam. I want to ask you, in pre-university, when girls were not allowed to come in hijab by this principal, has it disqualified the girls and the principal from anything else in this country? And are the girls and their fundamental rights being taken away because the uniform code is being imposed on them?
Navika, first of all, I want to ask this question. If these people are so interested in the fundamental rights of the girls, what about the rights of those Muslim girls who do not want to wear hijab? Then they are just mum on this subject. Then they label those women bad women, kafir women, or characterless women. So it is not about fundamental rights of women like they are trying to portray. Secondly, wearing hijab is not even part of our religion. As you rightly mentioned, that nowhere it is mentioned in Holy Quran that a Muslim woman should wear a hijab. It is not an essential part of my religion, and I'm saying it with complete responsibility on national television. Another important thing I want to mention here is, coming back to the topic, I was amazed to read an article that BG Ramakrishna, principal of Government Pre-University College, he misbehaved with some Muslim girls, allegedly misbehaved. And what was the misbehavior? Let us discuss that also. Karnataka Education Act clearly directs all the colleges of the state to fix a uniform for all students irrespective of their religion, and disallowing hijab or any religious attire to attain public order and fraternity. This is for all students, and a principal of a college of that state is just abiding by an act passed by the state, and he's just following the rules which were framed in 1995, and such a narrative is being created that he was misbehaving with Muslim women and girls. This is nothing but just power show. It has nothing to do with girls, it has nothing to do with religion. ये एक तरह का शक्ति प्रदर्शन है. And let me mention Kamru Zaman's ji hypocrisy here. There is a split verdict of Supreme Court on this subject, as you mentioned, but he is only showing his submission toward that part of the judgment order which is suiting his narrative. I want to ask him, where was this submission towards the Supreme Court when Supreme Court ordered maintenance to Shahbano, a 63-year-old Muslim woman who was successful in getting a very tiny, petty amount of maintenance from the Supreme Court? Then these people, they did not pay any heed to the Supreme Court's judgment. They did not show any submission. They bowed down. They brought the entire government on knees. just in front of radical forces and Islamists. For what? For appeasement. For what? To maintain a political vote bank. तो इस तरह की राजनीति
शाह बानो वाले अगर कहें कि वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट को सर आंखों पर रखते हैं तो सुबुही खान आपसे सवाल पूछ रही है.
Yeah, she has got every right to question, particularly the entire society also. But then you get into selective collection and criticizing me when I quoted a particular Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court judge. But what happened on August 9, 2024 in the same case of hijab with regards to a Maharashtra college issuing hijab ban? What did the judges say? Will you say that somebody wearing tilak will not be allowed? The point here that I am trying to drive out here, Navika ji, is a person who was responsible for destroying the career of hundreds and thousands of Muslim girls in Karnataka should never be awarded a state award, particularly in this case, where he imposed the hijab ban and he started the entire controversy in Karnataka.
You destroyed the life of Shah Bano and several women after that, and today you are becoming the champion of women's causes? You were unfair to Shah Bano and women since then till now, and you're talking about being fair to women. Subuhi Khan, Kamruzaman Chaudhary and his hypocrisy on display here?
Navika ji, I want to ask Kamruzaman ji one question. If he is so concerned about Muslim girls, if he is so concerned about the calm and the rights of Muslim girls, Navika ji, please either reduce his volume. I won't be able to debate like this. I have one very important point to make here. On behalf of all the Muslim girls who do not have voice, जिनको ये मंच नहीं मिलता, मैं उनके बिहाफ पर एक सवाल पूछना चाहती हूँ इन मुसलमान पुरुषों से जो यहाँ पर आकर राजनीति करते हैं. Kamruzaman ji, if you are so concerned about the rights and security and fundamental rights of Muslim girls, why don't you speak about such pathetic provisions of Sharia law जो कहते हैं कि age of puberty is age of marriage. 12-12 साल की मुसलमान बच्चियों की आप शादियां कर देते हैं कि periods हो गए हैं तो उनकी शादी कर दीजिए. Why don't you speak against मिसियार निकाह, which is traveler's marriage? 60-year, 70-year-old बूढ़े शेख आते हैं अरब से, तेलंगाना में होती है शादी. नविका जी, 12-12 साल की मुसलमान
don't really matter. And Abdul Razak Khan, my question is limited. We've been through the hijab debate. We've seen the verdict of the Karnataka High Court. We've seen the verdict in the Supreme Court. It is a split verdict. My question tonight on Teachers' Day is just this. Either you made up your mind before that, or you're sleeping on the driving wheel as far as the Karnataka Sarkar is concerned. Because if an expert committee took time, had fixed criteria, had reasons for picking up this principle, then you call him to Bengaluru, you brief him on the protocol, and because SDPI puts pressure on you, you withdraw. You get cold feet and tell him, bhai, tum mat aana. Kya, do sarkars run like this?
Navika ji, I doubt the integrity of the selection committee. Let me not talk about it. The primary point here is that the award is meant to be given to somebody who has contributed towards education and not somebody which the whole world saw who closes the doors for education. Madam, this was the main person who brought international humiliation to our state. Our state's pride was compromised because of this man. Because of this man, thousands of Muslim girl children were deprived of education because of this one simple act.
How is following rules a humiliation of girls? Abhijit Iyer Mitra, number one. And number two, he's doubting the credentials and the integrity of the committee. Why should the integrity of those who are questioning the integrity of the committee not be questioned? The Congress party, which sets up an expert committee, takes recommendations, calls people over, and then gets cold feet. Unki integrity nahi पूछनी चाहिए क्या है?
Navika, see, they had several governments after this was introduced in 95 when H.D. Devegowda was the chief minister. There were several Congress governments after H.D. Devegowda. Did any one of them withdraw the circular? No. They could have done it. Why didn't they withdraw the circular? They never did it. Second, just look at your visuals. Where is that man being disrespectful? In what way is it being disrespectful? He is basically trying to talk to them. Had it been a normal principal of a normal school, principals tend to be very haughty in most cases. They would have just sent the chowkidar or whatever to lock the gate and not let the girls in. Where is the disrespect? Show me where is the disrespect happening in these schools? Where is the disrespect happening?
Abdul Razak Khan? Where is the disrespect? The visuals are on the screen.
Madam, there is no question of respect or disrespect. The award is meant to be given to someone who has opened the doors for education, not for somebody who closes the doors for education. Now let me tell you, let me go again to Sudhanshu Dunyaji's, the Chief Justice's observation. The management, government and the High Court should have given prominence to the cause of educating the girl child. Madam, it was just a matter of one cloth, which was a part of the uniform. It had to be worn.
It was not part of the uniform.
All that happened was they
look at the visuals. It is not part of the uniform. Lies.
But this man played politics.
It was not part of the uniform at all.
RSS and BJP.
It was not part of the uniform.
Played politics at the hands of BJP and RSS. 5 state elections were happening, and the hijab issue was politicized for political gains for BJP. So this man does not deserve an award. Had the government given an award to him, we would have protested to recall it. I am telling you again and again.
What is your qualification to decide an educational award?
He brought international criticism. He compromised the pride of our state.
To decide the award. What are your qualifications to decide the award?
Sir, it is not the question about
No, are
me
you
or
an educationist?
You
Are
tell
you an
me on
educationist?
Teachers' Day,
Are you
should
an
a person
educationist?
who closes the door
Are you
for
a teacher?
education be
Are you an
awarded?
educationist?
Who,
You have
the person
zero
who closes the
qualifications.
door.
You
the
have
whole
exactly
world
zero
saw him locking the
qualifications.
gates. The
You have
whole
zero
world saw him
qualifications
locking
to
the
decide
gates.
who gets the
Should
award
he
or
be
not.
awarded? It is insult to those teachers who give education to children. Because of this man, thousands of Muslim girls were college dropouts. They did not attend college. This simple issue of one village in Karnataka, Udupi, this was brought to the entire
Holding the principal responsible for that. Why are the groups who actually encourage women not to go to college without the hijab not responsible, Nalin Kohli? Why is the blame only on the principal? Why is it not on those who were actually egging on these women not to go to college without the hijab? After all, these were students in the 11th and 12th standard, which is pre-university. They were lesser than 18 years of age. Why were they being egged on? Should that question not be asked, Nalin Kohli?
Can we put the fader down? Thank you. Now, I have many things to say. There is a certain pattern that I found in Abdul Razak Khan's entire thing. Thousands of girls, their education has stopped, but blame one principal. I mean, how many people were studying in that school? 1 million?
Yes.
I'm surprised. Another one goes and says thousands and lakhs of girls. Sir, look at the amount of over-exaggeration. The whole world was watching. The counter question to be asked is, who radicalized these girls? The counter question is, who radicalized these girls that wearing the hijab was more important than studying? That's the question. 16-year-old girls radicalized to the extent that wearing the hijab, I will not sit for the exam. I mean, it's a worrisome factor. I mean, tomorrow, where will this radicalization stop? And Subhi Khan raised some valid questions. No answer on that for all of these great men sitting on here, speaking about women's rights, about the Muslim community. There is a Muslim lady sitting on this show who's asking you about your views on rights for Muslim ladies. Not a view on that, blame that principal. Who's that principal? An expert on Islam. Who's that principal? Working for against Muslim rights, all of them. So I think this is hypocrisy at its greatest. One radical organization comes up, says something, and the Congress buckles. It starts shaking.
I only want to read. If Kamru Zaman Chaudhary is reading one part of the judgment in the Supreme Court, I want to read out the other part of the judgment. And this judgment on the 5th of February 2022 upholds the validity of the government order. And it says, the judge says here, In my opinion, the question of essential religious practices, which we have also referred to in this judgment as ERP, was not relevant in the determination of the dispute before the court. I say this because when protection is sought under Article 25(1) of the Constitution of India as being one of the present case, it is not required for an individual to establish that he or she asserts the religious act. It may simply be any religious practice as a matter of faith or conscience. And he says that the right should not go against public order, morality and health, and of course it is subject to other parts of the Constitution. So clearly there was the Supreme Court judgment, but the question is that people will look at the glass half full or half empty, what suits their politics. But in this case, I just think that as a country, when we celebrate Teachers' Day, which was actually a landmark day earmarked by the former president, Dr. Radhakrishnan, to uphold the values and the yeoman service that teachers make in our lives. On such a day, to humiliate a principal who had been chosen through a rigorous selection process in this manner, clearly makes us hang our head in shame. Only for appeasement politics? Is that the price we have to pay in this country? Think about it. Thank you very much to all my panelists for joining me on debate number 1.